Have you ever looked at your teenager and thought, wow, what happened? They used to tell you everything. They'd sit on the couch next to you and talk about their day. They would want hugs. They would want your attention. And now it feels like every conversation ends with fine, or I don't know, or nothing. I'm Dr. Kathie, a board-certified pediatrician, and I've been caring for children and their families for over 4 decades. If this sounds familiar, I want to reassure you right away. This is one of the most common concerns that parents have about teenagers. And surprisingly and fortunately, it's probably not a sign that something is really wrong. Today, we're going to talk about why teens pull away from parents, what's actually happening in that teenage brain, how to maintain a strong relationship with your teen, and when it might be time to seek additional help. First of all, why do teens suddenly pull away? Well, teenagers often confuse their parents because their behavior changes so dramatically. One day they're cuddling on the couch with you, and a few years later, they're barely wanting to be seen with you out in public. Many parents interpret this as rejection, but that's usually not what's happening. A teenager's brain is going through a major developmental shift, and as children grow, their brains naturally become more focused on learning from peers, exploring independence, and forming their own identity. Think about it this way. Your teen's job right now is to practice becoming an adult. And part of that process involves creating some emotional distance from parents. It's not because they don't love you, it's because they're growing. There's a swimming pool analogy that every parent needs to hear. Lisa D'Amour wrote a book titled Untitled. And in the book, she uses an analogy comparing parents to the walls of a swimming pool. Imagine a child learning to swim. They push off from the wall and they venture out to the middle of the pool where they play and have fun. But when they get tired, nervous, or need support, they come back to the wall. Teenagers do something very similar. They push away, they explore, they test boundaries, they spend more time with friends, but they still need to know that that wall is there. They need to know that home is safe. They need to know that their parents are available always. What are the biggest mistakes that parents can make during this time? Well, when parents feel disconnected, the natural response is often to push harder. We ask more questions. We demand more information. We lecture. We try to force conversations. Unfortunately, the more pressure that a teen feels, the more likely they are to pull away. Imagine coming home from work after a long day and being immediately asked 20 questions before you even had time to sit down. Most adults wouldn't enjoy that, and teenagers don't either. Sometimes the strongest relationships are built not through interrogation, but through conversation and connection. So, how do you get your teen talking again? One of the best things that parents can do is to become a better listener. When your child shares something, try to stay curious. Ask questions about what they're telling you, not just what you want to know. If they tell you about a friend, ask about the friendship. If they tell you about an activity, ask what they enjoy about it. Try to resist the urge to immediately solve their problem. Sometimes teenagers don't want solutions, they want understanding from parents. Another strategy is sharing your own stories. Many parents ask questions but never share anything about themselves. Ironically, when parents open up to teenagers often are more willing to do the same. And lastly, listen for the emotion in their words. Sometimes what teens say isn't the whole story. A teen may sound irritated or rude or dismissive, but underneath that behavior, there may be embarrassment or anxiety or stress or disappointment. So instead of focusing only on the words, try listening for that emotion underneath the words. You might say, wow, That sounds like you're really frustrated right now. Or, I can tell something is really bothering you. When teenagers feel understood, they're more likely to keep talking. So, when should parents worry? Well, while pulling away is normal, there are times when parents should pay closer attention, such as when your teen is withdrawing not only from family, but also from friends. They're no longer interested in activities that they once enjoyed, and they seem very persistently sad, anxious, angry, or even hopeless. These can be signs that something more serious may be going on. So trust your instincts. You know your child better than anyone. And if you're concerned, don't hesitate to reach out to your pediatrician, a counselor, or a mental health professional. If your teen isn't talking to you as much as they used to, take a deep breath. It doesn't automatically mean that you've done something wrong. And it doesn't automatically mean that your child's depressed. And it doesn't mean that they don't need you anymore. In many ways, this distance is really part of healthy development. Your job isn't to force discussions. Your job is to remain available. Your job is to listen, to stay connected, and to be the safe place that they can return to when they need support. Because most teenagers eventually come back to the people who made them feel understood. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, because it really helps YouTube share this video with other parents who might need this information as well. And if you're looking for more practical, evidence-based parenting guidance, be sure to subscribe. Also, consider sharing this video with other people that you might know who are navigating the same teenage years. It may be exactly what they need to hear today. Until next time.